MAGA right now is panicking. They are getting completely destroyed. I'll play this video, but before I do that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing, like this video, share this video. Take a listen at this one.
Federal immigration officers are asserting a sweeping power to forcibly enter people's homes without a warrant, contradicting ICE's own written guidance. In a memo obtained by the AP, the acting ICE director instructs officers to forcibly enter residences based solely on administrative warrants. These are typically never seen by a judge. So a whistleblower report has highlighted that this memo has not actually been widely shared within ICE, but its contents are being used to verbally train new officers. It's unclear how broadly the directive has been applied, but video from earlier this month shows officers bearing only administrative warrant and ramming the front door of a man.
Wow.
So this whistleblower complaint, I think, really explains some of what we've been seeing, Bakari. And it also suggests that there's some surreptitiousness happening, even within ICE, where people are being told not to actually write them down, not to keep the directives, but to read it and then return it. What do you think is going on here?
I mean, I think ICE has run amok. I think that's what we're seeing. I think that the fact that they only trained 47 days, that should, one, outrage everybody. I mean, the fact is most barbers in the United States of America, most beauticians, all have to have more training than that. They're going out on the street. They're disregarding the law. They act as if they're above the law. You have the little short guy who runs ICE, marching in the street, looking like the head of the Gestapo. I mean, this is not what America is. And then I want to quote Kavanaugh, which is rare for me to quote, but he says the officers must not make interior immigration stops or arrests based on race or ethnicity. This was a footnote in one of the opinions that he wrote. And that's not, I mean, we literally are seeing ICE agents go out there and stop people because of what they look like.
To the point where they are stopping Native Americans.
Because remember, the reason why ICE is so brutal, it is because they're highly paid. Means if you kill someone, if you can be as violent as you can, you will be paid a lot of money, because as we know, in terms of funding, ICE is the 5th largest. They are the most funded military organization. I call them a cult, Donald Trump's cult, in the world. 5th largest in terms of funding. Guys, this is no joke. What they're doing, they are highly motivated monetarily.
African Americans, they're stopping U.S. citizens.
You saw the Twin Cities, and this is frustrating to me, because even when I served in the General Assembly in South Carolina, you got to a point where Democrats and Republicans were able to look at each other and say, look, this is some bullshit. This is cool. Whatever. You know, we understand. There was a point in which we were South Carolinians or Americans first. Now you have limited government Republicans running around, and they're okay with warrantless searches. How does that make sense? This is an abuse of power.
The government overreach, searches and seizures, et cetera. Does it give you pause that they are expanding the view of what they can do to break into people's homes?
Well, first of all, it's not without a warrant. It's an administrative warrant. And what the memo actually says is if a judge has issued a final order of removal, meaning that this is an illegal who has gotten a lot of due process already and exhausted every single legal avenue to challenge their deportation.
I guess
on that front,
let me just pause you there, because I just don't want people to be confused. The administrative warrant is not a warrant that a judge sees. Typically in the United States, in order for authorities to break into your home without your permission, they need a judge to see it and to say you can enter because you're looking for something.
Right, because citizens have constitutional rights.
But that man, for example, that we just played the video of, he might have lived in that house, but that house also resided other American citizens. So again, where are the people on the right who are typically concerned about constitutional rights? Are you not at all worried
about constitutional rights for
that
American
they can just break into your home?
We have different standards of what due process is owed to an American citizen and what is owed to a non-citizen.
What about this scenario?
And we should all support that. We should all want a higher level of due process and constitutional rights that are guaranteed to us as American citizens, not to illegals, because it's supposed to mean something to be an American.
Hold on. But there are a lot of problems with that. I mean, there are constitutional rights that, just basic constitutional rights that don't change based on whether you're a citizen or not.
But you're wrong, Batia, because
no, they have a right to due process, but that standard is much lower than what counts as due process.
You're wrong.
That is right.
No, the Fifth and 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution provide that everyone, even non-citizens, have a right to due process.
Yes, to due process, but the standard of due process for expelling an illegal is much lower than the standard that we would have if we were accused of crime.
About entering one's domicile, one's abode.
They have a final order of deportation.
Batia, you cannot utilize military or law enforcement in the United States of America to enter one's home colloquially willy-nilly. You just simply cannot do that because of the fundamental guarantees we have under the United States Constitution.
Yes, and what happens as American citizens.
One way or another.
I think even this panel people who are inclined a little bit to Trump and what he's doing, they're shocked to see this kind of response. This MAGA woman has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. She's lying through her teeth and getting called in the process over and over again. But does she have any shame? Absolutely not.
DHS's policy, because they don't, that previously to this new determination, for whatever reason, they believed that it would have been unconstitutional to enter a home forcibly without a warrant.
Yeah, and we will see what the court rules. I'm a big fan of warrants, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can't go, what's the difference between an administrative and a regular warrant? I don't know. So I don't want to speak out of school here. But the courts will rule, and similar to how you saw Trump act in the last Supreme Court ruling and pulling National Guard out, not very dictator-like, I'll be honest. We hear he's a dictator, and then he listens to the courts. I don't think Hitler did that much. But look, I like warrants as usual. But my concern mostly is why people with deportation orders dating back to 1996, rape, multiple counts of homicide, et cetera, were allowed to re-enter the streets in Minnesota, didn't do anything about it, and why they don't listen to Tom Homan and let them get him in the jails so we don't have to go.
Nobody is arguing against gathering the worst of the worst, the rapists.
Right,
if he was actually doing that, if he was actually doing that, I think everybody would be applauding him.
They won't let them in the jails. Of course,
can I finish my thought for a minute? I think Barack.
Jesus, Donald Trump.
Ari is completely right that they have run amok. Right now, as we sit here, it was just found that a Cuban immigrant who was being held in an El Paso jail, the medical examiner has found that he was killed in ICE custody, in a detention center. Yeah. There have been more deaths since Trump took office, over 30 deaths in ICE custody. And I think we as Americans should be setting an example to the world of how we treat people, even when they are detained. And there is such performative, emboldened cruelty that is happening because this administration is encouraging it.
Right. And if everyone supports it, why won't they have
They're not just encouraging, they're funding it. And remember that the number of deaths is not 30 by ICE agent. And these 30 people, I do not know whether all of them are American citizen, but what I know from sources is that they were in the States legally. So they're killing legally people who are there. And they come up with new excuses all the time. Well, these are illegal criminals and this and that. But they don't really care about crimes committed by the white people, committed by US citizens. They don't focus on them. But the moment you have somebody who is an immigrant, oh, this guy is illegal. This guy shouldn't be here. He has a bad record in the past. Why he was there in the States in the first place? So they focus on one problem, which is killing, and then they pick and choose which one to highlight. When it is the American citizen, especially white people, they don't have much problem with that. They don't highlight that. They don't talk about that. They keep it hush-hush because that way they can perpetuate actually their crime against American citizen and also non-American citizen on everybody pretty much. And this is the characteristic of a cult. And this is what Donald Trump is running. He's running a cult, a gang, not a government.
Supports that. Nobody supports that. Look at his numbers. Look at his approval numbers on immigration.
Let me know, guys, what do you think? And also, again, subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.